can still remember the enthusiasm to get in there and see where this goes. No one's been there, no one's seen this. We're seeing something today that no one had ever seen. So I remember that feeling as well. And right, we'll go, you know. And that decision, in hindsight, was an error. In 2012 to 2016, I did 6 trips to remote southwestern China for the government to assist them obtaining UNESCO World Heritage status on a karst area within Guangxi province. Karst area is a cave area, so it's underground karst, and that particular area is full of water. So not only are there dry caves, there are a lot of flooded underground cave systems. So during our trips over, I became aware of this fantastically crystal clear lake. This whole lake was fed by a spring that came out of a cave system, and so we were very excited to dive it. But the complication was this massive lake with crystal water was part of the Chinese water grid, and so they had pumps and pipes that went into the cave system itself. And on our 3rd trip, they came to me and said, "Mr. Steve, we have permission from Beijing for you to dive in this particular cave site." And the whole idea was to establish whether or not there was any construction or industrial activity that may pollute their water system by finding which way it went. But it was an extra. We weren't supposed to be there, and we had a tight schedule that we were working towards, and we had days that we had to be in different areas to achieve results that they wanted. Our setup time was fast, and we were ready to go at about 9 a.m. in the morning, and I remember that the facilitated time for them to shut off their water grid was at 11 a.m. So we were ready and waiting, and we had pressures to get out of there that day. The hydrologist I'm with is discussing this, and he's saying, look, you know, he's very experienced, this guy, and a very experienced cave diver. He's saying, look, there can't be too much of suction in this pipe, because he was talking about how many litres per minute are coming out and what the suction rate would be, and you know, if it was really anything of significance, then we wouldn't be seeing this amount of water flow. He was averaging the amount coming out, and all this sounded very technical and professional to me, so I'm going, oh, yeah, okay then. He said, I reckon we can get in. So a decision was made pretty early on that we were going to dive whilst the water system was on, and we were hoping that whilst we were in there, it would be switched off, and on our way back, there would be no pump or no water coming up this particular pipe. I can still remember the enthusiasm to get in there and see where this goes. No one's been there, no one's seen this. We're seeing something today that no one had ever seen. So I remember that feeling as well. And right, we'll go, you know. And that decision, in hindsight, was an error.
The whiskey we're enjoying tonight is a very special single cask from the Caol Ila distillery on Islay in Scotland. This was a single cask bottling for the Whiskey Abbey Festival in collaboration with Sansibar Whisky, a German independent bottler. The whiskey itself is absolutely stunning. The beautiful seaside notes of oyster shells and kelp mix in with this amazing note of tropical fruit and a little bit of a zesty lemon peel brininess in there as well. Only a very small cask with 200 bottles for the Whiskey Abbey Festival, and one of those ones that when it's gone, it's gone. Cheers.
The pipe, I remember, was probably almost a metre wide, going straight down into the ground, into the water. So we had to dive down the side of this pipe and then flip underneath it and then progress into what was the cave system. And getting underneath the pipe at the bottom, I remember, was a bit of a struggle going in, but there was an angle and a lip, and it was, you know, all not too bad. There was no grid or no grate, so it was an open pipe. I probably swam another 20 metres, and then I see the diver in front of me giving a turn signal, which is turn around, and this signal means go back to the entrance. So I'm thinking, oh, this is not much of a cave dive. We haven't really gone very far, and after waiting all this amount of time, I've hardly seen anything, and we were heading out. As I was the last diver in, we turn around, I'm the first diver out. And I remember coming up to the pipe, and I remember looking at it. Underneath it was hard rock, The back of it was hard rock, and I had to squeeze in and then elevate and come up. Well, we haven't done our 2 hours, so the pipe's still going to be sucking. I was a little nervous coming up to it, but 4 divers had just gone past and everything was fine. And as I was moving, I've crept to the right-hand side, I remember it, and then like a magnet is the only way, like a massive magnet is the only way I'll describe it. My steel twin tank diving system slammed against the base of the pipe, and I am stuck there like you wouldn't believe. It was just a whack, like you smack. If I'd gone forward a bit further, so my leg had gone up that pipe, I'd be up the pipe. If I'd been back a bit where my head had got sucked, I would have gone straight up that pipe. And flashing through my mind at that particular time was how close I'd come to being part of the Chinese water grid system. With my head up a pipe, I would have gone, I don't know how many kilometres I met until I met some fans circulating in there, and that would have been the end of me. So I'm stuck, and then the next thing I feel is diver number 2 behind me standing on my tanks trying to bounce and move me, and that was just terrifying me that I might bounce in, because I knew the force of pressure now against that pipe system. And I remember I'm stuck there, I'm putting my hands backwards, trying to tell him to stop with my hands behind me. We're now facing at least an hour of air that they would have to remain in behind us, waiting if they didn't run out of gas in that period of time, because I'd jammed the entrance. We weren't getting out. And I couldn't get out. I had a matter of inches between my chest and the rock floor, and I remember taking out, cave divers have at least 2 cutting devices, one on my torch and I have one on my waist. And I remember taking out my waist one and cutting the harness system so I could get out of this and hold my breath, letting go of my regulator, letting go of my air supply and leaving it there, and then still having enough breath hold in order to get the 5 metres to the surface. And I'm surfacing without any tanks to a crowd of Chinese officials who are wondering what's going on. Through an interpreter, explain that I need the pump turned off now. And I remember them telling me, no, it'll be turned off at 11 a.m. No, I need the pump turned off now in order to get my dive team out. And I was rattled as well, I must admit I was rattled. Within a couple of minutes, it was off. Obviously I'd had the look on my face, or the urgency to say, as professional as I could, we need it off. And it was turned off. I remember pulling myself down the pipe, the water was off, grabbing my gear, putting a regulator in my mouth, and carrying my gear back up with a safety stop to the surface and letting the other divers out. I'm wary you call it a dangerous sport. I don't consider cave diving particularly dangerous. I consider it, if you've planned for it, if your decision making and your team is good, it's not dangerous. And it's very rare that as you're diving, that one particular incident just kills you. When we're looking at diver fatality reviews, it's almost always a culmination of things that have happened along the way. And this particular thing, a decision to dive, which sounds silly when I'm talking about it, through a pumping water system that's actually activated with 4 people, with the largest person coming last, potentially blocking the hole. These little decisions occur and cause issues. It may be the fact that we're in a cave and we go along and one of our torches dies. Oh, that's terrible, but every cave diver has 3 torches. It's 4 of us. We've got 12 torches. One's died. We'll be right, we'll continue on. But then before we know it, we get stuck, we're short on gas, and now all the torches are starting to dive. So it's very rare that just out of the blue, cave diver dives, all the gas turns off and it's an issue. It's normally a culmination. And in this particular incident, again, it's a culmination. I wake up sometimes at night and I know I've been dreaming about this particular thing, and it's not fear, it's just unsettled nature I have as a result of this experience is more than any other. I've done some crazy things in my life and been to some crazy places, but this one I know was, I probably should have died that day.